Man, so we're back on the Undisputed GOAT podcast. No beating tonight. We got the trucker hat on courtesy of the Atlanta Hawks, man. Hell of a victory last night, which I was in attendance of over the Philadelphia 76ers. They literally booed Joel Embiid's ass out of that building, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That was a good feeling to see. That was something good to really see, man. They was booing him every time he set foot on that damn floor, bro. When he went to shoot free throws, they was booing. When he went to do whatever, they was booing. So they booed him damn near out the building last night, which was good to see, man. But big shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. Everybody knows I'm a diehard Laker fan, but the thing is, the Hawks are from my home state, and I'm always going to cheer for who's out of my home state by default. Now, I'm not as big of a Hawk fan as I am a Georgia or an Atlanta fan, but an Atlanta Falcons fan. But guess what? I do cheer for the home team. I will say that. But on that note, man, look, let's get right into it, man. How's the panel doing today? The world famous panel, man. How y'all feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling good. I just glad I got an extra day off. HR's like, hey, we're cutting hours and we're thinking about you got a couple of holidays that you want to use. I'm like, you know what? Yes, I would. So I'm gonna be sleeping in tomorrow too. So I got time tonight. How y'all fella doing?
Damn, I'm jealous.
I'm doing good. I also had a day off today. For reason, whatever. Some car problems or whatever, which is fine. That's what it is. And then getting the barroom floor fixed. And weekend was productive, so we're good.
You my 9 to 5 on the weekend. Never mind. But man, look, good to be here tonight, man. A lot of things went on in the sports world this past weekend, man. Look, I was gonna say this for last, but I want to know y'all's opinion since Monday Night Raw was on, man. Because I thought I was gonna say this for last. We're gonna start this off. We're gonna set the tone first. What is y'all's thoughts about John Cena's retirement matches? Did the ending that we hoped for, or was it just lackluster? What do y'all think, man?
The more at first it caught me off guard because I mean it went the way I was expecting it to go because it was a good match and it was going the way I was expecting to go. Kind of like Gunther, as good as Gunther is, he always has this fatal flaw of underestimating his opponents, no matter how good they are. So he's arrogant, and I mean, but he deserves to be. It's what is it? It's athletic arrogance. It's athletic arrogance, and he's earned that right when you consider what he's done since he's been on the main roster. He's earned it right. I mean, good gracious, the dude was Intercontinental Champion for 666 days. Not to mention he had an over 800-day reign as NXT UK Champion. So basically since he's been in WWE, you might well say 70 to 80% of the time he's held a championship. If you include the world heavyweight championship reigns he's had. So I mean, you can't knock the hustle. And it went the way I was kind of expecting it to go. Like they're gonna beat the hell out of each other. And I said that's exactly what's gonna happen. They were gonna beat the daylights out of each other. And then when he got into the final sequences, and then Gunther just he kept slapping the sleeper hold on Cena, and he kept doing it, and then it got to that final sinkers where he just he threw the bows, and then he finally just locked him in it. And the tap out, it caught me off guard first because I wasn't expecting him to tap out at all. I was thinking, I'm pretty like the people that were thinking he was going to lose was like, he'll pass out, never give up, the character, he'll pass out. But then when I got to thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? If John Cena is truly done, if the wrestling character is truly done, I kind of hate to say it, this was the only way for him to go out. And it was almost like the look on his face was kind of like, And he says it. And he says it in his promos like so much. It's like, when I leave, I want to know I left this place better than when I first got here and when I found it. And when you look at the talent, when you look at how stacked the roster is in the WWE, he's done that. So even though we might not have wanted him to tap out, I think that was him saying, you know what? I've done this for over 20 years. I ain't got to keep fighting. I ain't got to do this no more. I got nothing to prove. And it wasn't him giving up because Gunther made him tap out. It was him giving up. It was him tapping out because it was like almost like a release. Like he doesn't have to hold the burden of the WWE.
Oop, what happened?
I think it was the right call.
There we go.
It was the right call. I think him tapping out was the right call.
I have so I felt the same way. I think I was very caught off guard by how it ended. Not that he tapped. My prediction too. I said it that I thought he would go out Austin style and he'd pass out, or at the very least, I thought it would be reminiscent of Angle and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, where it was this. I mean, it took everything that Angle had to make Shawn tap. I have two thoughts, and it kind of goes with what BRF was saying. Let me get the wrestling aspect of what out first, and that part of my opinion on it. I think in a wrestling aspect, I think it was done the wrong way. I think the way Cena tapped doesn't do enough. Okay. I think the way Cena tapped doesn't do it doesn't do what the rub. I'm sorry, giving the rub. Holy fuck. Giving the rub to Gunther, it doesn't, the way he tapped out and the way the match ended, that rub isn't good enough. Where, like, if you look back and you go how Austin didn't tap and how that ascended him into stardom. When Michaels finally tapped out to the ankle lock, it ascended the ankle lock and Angle to even another level. We could go to the Brock Lesnar, because this should be on the level of like Taker losing at WrestleMania. Cena hadn't tapped out in his 20 years. Okay. And so my big, so I think in a rest, because to me right now, and Cena said it best when Lesnar actually beat Taker. It's not so much the moment of what something happens; it's how you follow up with this. Now I haven't watched Raw yet; it's on right now. I'm curious to see what Gunther comes out and says. But I think the way that he tapped out, I was expecting like this long outlasting make Cena tap, just whatever. And I don't think in a wrestling aspect it works. I think it wasn't done right. But John Cena as a human being, it was done right. To kind of what I'm going to play off of what BRF was saying, and it's because it was kind of similar to my thoughts. This is Cena letting go of this aspect in this part of his life. If you've ever listened to him in any interviews or anything like that, he is a very grounded individual. And I think that was him symbolizing that he is okay with letting go of this aspect of his life and letting go of the business. And I don't know if it was not really passing the torch, but just personal acceptance at this time and this season in my life is now done. And in that aspect, I really like the ending. it was beyond kayfabe. It was something different that we've never seen before. It was very kayfabe because there was no anguish in his face. It was just acceptance of I can't get out of. Technically, this is I'm just I can't get out of this hold. I'm just accepting this. I wish there would have been a little bit more of a struggle to lead up to that, but I don't know. I'm conflicted. There's been a lot of talk about in the last year or so, and a lot of criticism with the WWE, and some of it is earned, some of it is overblown. About we're going a little too much kayfabe, and this was very kayfabe, and I have mixed emotions on it. And I don't know how I feel about it, but I think I'm going to be okay with my two opinions. I think in a wrestling aspect, I don't think it was the right ending or Gunter because the point is to ascend Gunter to another level. Okay. Um, from a personal life standpoint and somebody that admires um, being grounded and stoicism and acceptance, I love it as a human being and as a person. Um, so I'm mixed. I have mixed emotions on it. The I think his whole farewell tour has had mixed emotions and mixed opinions. I think he had great moments, great matches. I also think that we'll never know the backstage politics that played into The Rock being involved in it and then not being involved in it. We don't know who's at fault. And I've speculated, I've blamed The Rock, and we don't know. Who knows what happened? Was it poor booking? Was it scheduling? Was it health? But was it Cena calling? Was it AAA? Was it TKO? Was it The Rock? Do I think the overall cohesive story could have been a lot better? Yes. But we don't know what happened behind the scenes. So I think what we did was what BRF called it for a while was we just did his greatest hits. And we threw in a massive, awesome match with AJ Styles that it was one of the most emotional moments in wrestling in a while. So I think everybody bitching and complaining. Now, don't get me wrong, WWE deserves its criticisms currently. But I think overall that was we've never done they've never done and we've never seen a retirement farewell tour. Okay. And if you take out like the whatever happened behind the scenes with The Rock and you just take it for what it is and take a step back and look at it, that was pretty fucking cool. It was. And I implore you, if you didn't watch all the interviews that he's been doing lately, well, go watch him on Joe Rogan. He was just on Joe Rogan like a week and a half ago. He did another interview with Chris Van Vliet. He did multiple. He was making the rounds on the podcast the last couple of weeks. Go and listen to him, and then look back at this whole run. Like he touches on something. He touches on everybody complained about the Brock Lesnar match after SummerSlam, and rightfully so. I think at the moment, but he goes. I think this is something that all wrestling fans need to take to heart and take this and remember this. He goes, if you don't get that shit sandwich from me and Brock on purpose, you're not set up for the emotional match that is me and AJ Styles. You're not if it like you have to eat the shit. It's again, you can't have this is love and hate, chaos and order. Like you can't have it can't be perfect and great all the time. You have to have the bad things to appreciate the good things. And to have something like Brock Lesnar go through like that and have it be just a squash match and to follow that up with arguably one of John Cena's greatest matches of all time. Not even just on a physical level, but just on an emotional level and all the tributes and call outs and everything else. Like he physically upped his game for that match to go with AJ Styles, and AJ Styles is amazing. And then go listen to him talk about his match with Punk. Just then go back. then tell me that this was bad. If you can sit here with a straight face after listening to that man's words and then look back on this last year, almost year, oh no, about a year, and say that this was a failure or bad, then I think you're what I call a Reddit wrestling fan or a Twitter wrestling fan. You are just here to bitch. You're here to complain about everything, and you're never happy. And
I think, and I'll throw a quick point in real quick. If you really think about Cena's career, when you really think about Cena's career and how this tour encapsulates just everything, the highs of like when you think about when he first got into business, and then when he when he was the generic John Cena, and then when he took on the Thugonomics gimmick, and then just really just shot into superstardom, and then when he moved to Raw, and then his character got really really stale for the longest time, and then it was almost as if like him winning the United States Championship and then doing the Open Challenge kind of like just ups and downs. I mean, when you think about this year, it's synonymous with John Cena's career. When you think about the highs, like when you think about it starts off high, and then the roller coaster, like up down up down up down. I mean, it kind of perfectly fits what John Cena was about in his entire career, because his career wasn't always on the high. He had ups, he had downs. People were booing him, getting "you can't wrestle" chants on a weekly basis. I mean, just it pretty much it sums up John Cena's career like in 1 year. You couldn't do it all, but when you think about it, it's like, you know what? How else should it really go for John Cena when you think about the highs and the lows of his career? Like, how else would it go? Like, 1 minute you're like, 1 minute everybody's like on the bandwagon when you think about the heel turn, and then the next minute we want to rip them apart for the Brock Lesnar match, and then the next minute we're like back because of the AJ Styles match. I mean, it's pretty much his career, the ups and the downs. I mean, it's pretty much his career in the nutshell. I don't think you really you it's a perfect fitting. It's a really perfect fitting for what he went through in his career, and that's why I say, in my opinion, him tapping out the way he did makes it made the most. You might not like it from a wrestling standpoint, but from a character standpoint, which is ultimately what he wanted to kind of get rid of this part of his career. There was no other way for him to go out.
But see, I don't think it's a character standpoint. I think it's the human being. I think
Well, it kind of yeah, but at the same time, it's like, but at the same time, it is a human being, but also that it is still him putting the character side of him to rest once and for all. Even it's the human being side. I agree, but I think it's still to a certain degree him saying, you know what, when I say I'm done with this character and this wrestling side, I'm done.
Yeah,
and that's just it. Like I said, it just encapsulates everything that's John Cena, which is why I think this last year it's overhated. It's overhated, if that makes sense.
I think so too. I mean, I've said it for a long time that the wrestling fan at this point is, the loudest Reddit wrestling fans, and again, like I even think again, it's the Reddit wrestling fans. And honestly, it's bled over into mainstream, because I mean, people just booed Triple H, and it's fine. That's a part of wrestling, and that's kind of what you get. And again, there's lots of criticism to go around of how things have been booked. I'm not going to sit here, and I'm not talking about the Cena thing. I'm just talking about in general. They have their issues. Don't get me wrong. Corporate and booking wise, but I also think that it's this moment to moment of like, I wasn't feeling like I did for that one. Like, everything is this constant like needs to be the last 5 minutes of WrestleMania 40 every single time. And it's like there's no appreciation for the long game. And I think that's a big problem right now in wrestling fans. That we and I there have been times that I'm guilty. That's why I try to take like I have an immediate reaction and then I have like I'm going to sleep on this and kind of have like where is this going? What does this happen? What does this really mean? Um, so I think that's one thing, but I think that if you go back and you listen to his interviews, and I really implore you to do because I've never been a John Cena fan as a wrestler. As a person, I've always liked him. If go listen to his interviews, I implore you, and then look back on the past year, and you will have a greater appreciation for what went on this past year. So yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I liked it. It's something we've never seen before the last year. We got a little taste of everything. We got a John Cena heel turn for everybody that had been clamoring it for years. We got a heel turn, and honestly, it was pulled off great. The heel turn itself was phenomenal. Now was the follow up the greatest? No, but it had some awesome, cool moments, like him and Punk going back and forth, and it was there was moments.
The reverse pipe. I call it the retaliation pipe bomb. Only John Cena could have did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pipe bomb.
It's I don't know, man. It's not that bad. It ain't that serious. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things that we can complain about, but I don't think this is one of them. Champ, what do you think?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Only thing that I didn't like about this was the way it ended. Probably because I'm a spoiled ass brat as a fan. When somebody goes out on their shield, you're used to seeing it in this dramatic fashion, right? When you saw Ric Flair went out in the dramatic fashion that he did with the super kick. When you saw Stone Cold go out, you saw him go out in dramatic fashion. It took 3 rock bottoms in order to get him down. You saw The Undertaker go out on that last one with Brock Lesnar, his last true retirement match, if you really want me to be honest. It took 3 F5s and it ended the streak. Even when you saw, Fritz von Erich when he went out, Vern Gagne, when they all went out in this dramatic fashion. That's what the cake, the ice cream, the trimmings, the fudge, the caramel, all of that was good on top of that sundae. I don't believe they put the cherry on top like they should have. Like I stated, I'm used to seeing the guys. Like I said, I'm a spoiled brat wrestling fan. When guys go out and this is the last, well, and in his case, this is the last time, you used to seeing guys go out on their sword. And I mean, it's dramatic. It's very dramatic. The match itself was good. Don't get me wrong. But to end it like that, I don't think did it justice. Like I stated, like I said, now openly admit, to your point, I'm a spoiled brat. I'm used to seeing these knockdown drag out with this big emotion to go along to the ending of the match. Like I stated, you saw Ric Flair literally crying in the ring when Shawn Michaels super kicked him before he said, "I'm sorry, I love you." You saw that last rock bottom, the hardest rock bottom you're ever gonna see at WrestleMania 19 to end Stone Cold's career. You saw it. You saw how, like I said, Fritz von Erich, Vern Gagne, all of those guys who you knew this is it. This is the last time. And we may see you in a special guest capacity in the ring, but we're never going to see you at your peak in the ring. This is the last time I'm going to see you at your peak. I believe that they didn't do a good job of putting that cherry on top like it did with Undertaker, like it did with Flair, like it did with Austin, like it did. I mean, when you have a match like that of that magnitude, and this was a super mega star, this was a guy who, look, you got to be honest with yourself. After Stone Cold, we really didn't know who was going to be the guy. Stone Cold, gone. Rock, movie star, part timer. Brock Lesnar, good, not necessarily everybody's cup of tea. The only constant there was The Undertaker for a long time. And you didn't know exactly who was going to be that ambassador, that badass, that guy who was going to carry the flagship for the WWE brand for the next 15, 20 years. You didn't know you didn't even know if you could find a star that could surpass Stone Cold Steve Austin in popularity. And you found Cena, one of the most unlikely superstars, arguably in history. When you look at every last one of those guys who became stars in the industries, they have this unimaginable story with the territories, with, coming up, doing the circuit in the wrestling business at an early age. But Cena's story is a little bit different. He wasn't the technician that Ric Flair was. He wasn't even Stone Cold. Remember, Stone Cold was a technician before he hurt his neck. You think about all of those guys are deeply, he did it very, very different. And he did it with the hip hop as well. A lot of guys tried it, but a lot of guys couldn't pull it off. He did it with the Reebok pumps. He did it with the throwback jerseys. He did it very, very differently. So that's the only part that I didn't like, was that cherry on top. Like I said, the ice cream, the cake, the fillings, the bananas, the strawberries, all of that was good. You stacked it all on top of each other. The only thing I did not like was the cherry on top. Like I stated, when you have a star of John Cena's back, this is the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. And I'm going to read you guys. I'm trying to find it. That's the reason why I kept looking over my shoulder for a second, not trying to be rude and disrupt the show. But I want to read you something that PSP sent me not too long ago, and it was from Selling Wrestling. I have to give credit so plagiarism won't come into play. It said Hulk Hogan, Bill Russell, Ric Flair, Kobe Bryant, John Cena, LeBron James, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Michael Jordan.
I do not agree with the Ric Flair Kobe Bryant comparison at all.
Well, who is you comparing to, BRF?
when you think about when you think about I would probably
Magic Johnson.
I guess my thing is he has to be compared to someone who can. I guess if you're going to talk about somebody who has like a GOAT case, I was thinking more Kareem, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I'm thinking more Kareem, more Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because absolutely. From the standpoint of he's like the only, for me, he's like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair are like the only two from their respective eras, kind of similar to what Bill Russell did and what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did from like the past, from the past eras. If you want to say had a GOAT case at one point in another, yeah, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then you got the John Cena LeBron is perfect. I personally think that's perfect. And then Stone Cold being the Michael Jordan. Put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar next to Ric Flair, then you got me.
That's BRF. You're 100% right.
But yeah, I really, like I said. But if you're going to be on that iconic, then like I said, I just got to put the cherry on top. But like I said, look, when you've done as much as they did, as much as those guys did, they came out on their swords. Remember, Ric Flair had the most memorable send-offs that you want to have. Had that memorable match at WrestleMania, hell of a send-off. Although Stone Cold didn't never wrestle in the ring ever again until Kevin Owens, to PSP's point, shout out to my main man PSP. Although he never wrestled again up until that, they gave him a send-off and a come-in moment where they let him be Raw general manager so he could still entertain. You think about Hulk Hogan, I don't think he ever got that proper send-off that he needed. That Yokozuna match was kind of like, and then when he comes back, he never gets that real big send-off. He just comes back periodically. But when you think about send-offs, when you think about guys leaving the industry that has done so much for the industry, I really think that they should have sent them off and say, hey man, we're gonna make this dramatic as hell to the point where, hey, you know, they actually think that you're gonna win. And when you don't, it's like the Bret Hart, to your point, Flash, that Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. And like I stated, I think it would have elevated Gunther even higher than what he is now. Gunther reminds me of Fritz von Erich. I will fight that to the end. He reminds me of Fritz von Erich, but a hell of a lot more athletic. A hell of a lot more athletic and a hell of a lot more ringside. He reminds me of the modern day Fritz von Erich.
I will say this though. I watched that opening segment of Monday Night Raw. If you did not see it, you should, because
Playing it right now. I won't be able to hear it, but
bro, like that was Roman Reigns WrestleMania 33 levels of hatred.
I here's the thing. Everybody complaining that Gunther shouldn't have been the guy is wrong. 100%.
I like Gunther.
You are ascending Gunther or trying to ascend him to Brock Lesnar final boss level. And there's rumors now already that Gunther will retire Brock Lesnar at Minnesota at SummerSlam, which makes perfect sense because that's where Brock Lesnar's from.
Bro, I think they're literally about to put the Thanos on him and give him the glove and have these careers be the Infinity Stones with him. I seriously think they're about to do that with him. Like there's rumors, like there's like AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. I seriously think they're about to do that with him.
Well,
I seriously do.
Here's the thing too: is like I said, you are ascending him to final boss level
because you need a new final boss.
There's
no final boss right about
now.
There
is no final boss. The Undertaker always been gone. Undertaker's gone.
Brock is about to be
Lesnar is a part timer and he's on his way out. Like he's not going to do this much longer. In fact, I'm surprised he came back in the first place. There's no guy that you can put in the ring to put. This is why again I made a whole series on why it was the correct move for Lesnar to beat the streak, because look at how many people it made after that.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't want to admit that, but that's fine. The whole reason we got the tribal chief is because of Lesnar beating Taker. It's a feed. It's a continuous. The whole reason that Cody ascended to where he is because those other things, but the final ascension is what it was his match series with Brock Lesnar and that finishing at Detroit and SummerSlam.
Hey, what's up, Nessa?
Ness,
how's it going?
Shout out to Ness and the Sports for You podcast. Good to see you, Ness.
So you can you can sit here and complain out, but the only other person that would have been the only other two people that would have been acceptable would have been Edge, who they weren't going to get, or oh god, I lost my train of thought at this point. Edge or Orton. They're the only two acceptable ones, and you're not going to give the rub that neither of them needed the rub, and this whole point for a lot of it was his greatest hits and giving back.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to end it with somebody not getting the rub. And people saying that Gunther was big enough already. He's not big enough already. He's not. He needed this rub. Because look at his world title reign. Everybody thought it was boring.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say that.
He didn't have that rub yet. He didn't have that ascension level, and they are literally grooming him to get to the point now. When they put a title on him, watch him turn into something equivalent to the tribal chief. Like that's what they're going to turn him into. That's what they need. They need again. I have been saying this for every kind of sport. You need an ultimate villain. They don't have one right now. They don't have an ultimate villain, a final boss.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what they're going to make him.
They don't. You're right now. You're either a baby face or you're like a serious tweener. You're not like. You're not like just this. Exactly. And they're lacking that right now. And honestly, when I knew Gunther was going to win. I mean, granted, yeah, the rumors that came out before they started to determine, like, Gunther right now is the betting favorite. When he brought back Symphony Number 9 as his theme song, I'm like, yep, wrap it up. It's over. It's over. When he brought back Symphony Number 9 as his theme song, oh yeah, it was over. It was over. You might well, you might well pack the tournament up. I knew it was over when he brought that theme song back. Because the real ones know pre Gunther when he was Walter and he had that theme song in the Indies and like the early NXT run, bro. If y'all have not seen the two NXT UK championship matches that Gunther and Ilya Dragunov had, I'm gonna need y'all to go watch them expeditiously.
Yeah.
So I wanted to respond to that. No, Sean's my goat. No one's
really? I do have Cena. I got Cena, and I stand on business with Cena.
If you
Ric Flair's my goat.
What?
Ric Flair's my goat.
If you want to say who's on my Mount Rushmore, I think a Mount Rushmore is different than the GOAT. Because then I think you're talking about pillars of the industry.
Yeah.
I think Cena is on my pillars of the industry.
Yeah.
Where Sean is he's the greatest to ever do it. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm sorry. It's so fitting that all of our goats are so fitting to our damn personalities. But
you know what? I did not think about that.
I will leave it right there.
I did not think about that.
In my 20s, if you knew me in my 20s,
Shawn Michaels probably fit him to a T. and champ, you know me now. I'm a different breed, so Cena kind of fits my attitude.
And
like I would say like the way I carry myself is a mixture of this Cena, but my mouth and stuff I'm willing to say is definitely thugonomic Cena.
I'm very much in my human being is very much the arc of Sean's arc of a human being. The only thing you just take out all the drug use. I was never a drug user, but all the other stuff of just like, yeah. And then I finally grew up.
You know? I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was just like Ric Flair at my peak. Yes, I was a boxer. Yes, I did MMA, and I was fit to the core. But hell, I used to go out there. Shout out to the Wolfpack, by the way, because those were my guys. They called us the Super Six at first because it was 6 of us, but that was fucking garbage. But we was the Super Six at first. It was 6 of us, and I will never forget, man. We went out one night and had a time. I'll never forget. We had a night called WrestleMania Nights, and we went out and we drank 27 shots apiece.
Ooh.
I never forget that night. We went out there and drunk everybody up under the table. And
how did you feel the next day?
I was good. I got back up and drunk a beer. So
that was me and my 20s too.
Oh boy, I didn't drink like that, so I would have never had the tolerance like that.
At my peak, I was a hard. I'll never forget.
And I could drink back in the
I never
day.
forget. I never forget one time. I drove I drove to mom and dad's house because I was on a pass to from the military, and I asked for dad. I said, "Dad, let me in." I said, "Dad, is mom up?" He was like, "Yeah, no, she's not up." So he let me in the house. He let me in the house so I can go to sleep. He said, "Look, long as you don't make your mom up, you're good. So go in there and go to sleep." So I went in there and go to sleep. About I think about 6 hours later, I remember my dad kicked my bed, said, "Doc Holliday, get your ass up. Time to go." So, and if you know who Doc Holliday is, then you know. But yeah, I love man. Ric Flair fits me perfectly, man. The limit. I wasn't as flashy as Rick, but you know, hey, I had a degree of confidence when I was at my peak, and you know, hey, you know, I love to dress nice. I love to wear the suits. And you know, hey, love to be flashy. There was a little bit of flash, but not too much back in the day. And look, PSP, he says his GOAT is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And no offense, PSP, I really think that fits him as well. He is a workaholic, and so is Stone Cold. So I mean, I've never seen a person outside of the three guys that I have right here work as hard as PSP and have this very, very like stoic attitude about it. He was, and if you really look at that ringmaster gimmick that he adds that to it. I'll say PSP's personality does. He adds that to it. He has that badass stoic mentality, and he doesn't take any shit from anybody. I'm just going to be real, real honest with you. But at the same time, very giving, very cool, very personable. But PSP's badass in his own right, man. Because guess what, man? You know, I take things light all the time. I'm a jokester. I really don't care. Hey, PSP don't play. So yeah, I think the goats, our goats, our perspective goats, really fit our personalities, man. And I can tell that you can, when you're from where I'm from, especially down south, you learn how to read people a little bit. So I can pretty much tell that Flash had a lot of symbols of Shawn Michaels in it. So
and
you can
and
kind of
and
get
the,
that look like, oh yeah, you got some shit up in you, man. I would have loved
and
to have
the
parted with you back in the day, but you was that guy that I avoided when I went to the bar. And I do, oh no, if shit goes away, avoid him, avoid him, avoid him. So,
and the crazy part about it is like this is what I'll say. I will say that I do think the great. I mean, I think everybody should be on board with this. I've like the greatest peak in wrestling was when Stone Cold Steve Austin was the face of the industry. I mean, that attitude era. I think we can all agree with that. That was like the greatest peak of the industry. But but what always got, I think the reason why I just have this respect for Cena. Like when he debuted, let's see, hold up. When he debuted, it was 2002, so I wasn't even 17 yet. I was 16, going on 17 when he debuted and did the ruthless aggression thing with Kurt Angle and had that really good debut match. But it's I don't know. It's just I guess I just it was watching him and then in the time period that he went through, like ruthless aggression, that late, where where the TV was still edgy, but you could tell they were trying to trying to gear it toward the kids a little more, and then the PG era came, and it was like you needed that guy. Cause with the PG era, the hardcore heads ain't gonna like it because what I'm saying, you grew up with like Attitude Era WWE. You grew up with ECW. It was just edgier content. So PG era is going to be something that us being wrestling fans grew up in that time frame. We weren't going to be really used to, and just the way he carried himself. And and people can talk about Cena all they want as far as like the wrestling ability and all of that stuff. Cena had Cena's got a laundry list of some of the best matches you're going to see, whether it's the hour match on Raw with Shawn Michaels, to the last man standing with Umaga, to even going just even like later on, like people the SummerSlam match with Seth Rollins to unify the World Heavyweight and U.S. Championships. That's a slept on match because I finally sat down and I watched that match from beginning to end. They threw down. That was good. The Royal Rumble triple threat with him, Seth, and Brock, and then the U.S. Open Challenge, and then the AJ rivalry. I mean, just I started to appreciate him more when it kind of got 2014, 2015, and they kind of like, okay, it was like it was always five moves of doom, five moves of doom, five moves of doom. And then when he kind of got into that like that workhorse era, I guess if you want to call it the reality era, they kind of pulled the leash off of him a little bit and said, okay, you in here with a whole different breed of wrestler. You know we gonna pull the we gonna pull the reins off you a little bit. And some of the matches he was having with some of these dudes, like whether it's Seth or AJ or Kevin Owens or Cesaro, guys like that, just Dean Ambrose, like that's why I kind of have such an appreciation for Cena. It was that time frame when like the indie guys were coming in and was really putting a foothold in the WWE, and Cena being that pillar for sports entertainment, but yet hanging with these guys. And I just my respect for him just it shot through the roof. And now and the prom and the mic work. I think he's the goat on the mic, and just so much. And that's why I hold him in such a high regard. It's his it was and it's not just his longevity, but it was his adaptability to what was going on. That's why I hold him in such a high regard.
I here's the thing about wrestling. When we talk about GOAT, it's a little bit different. It goes to yes, we talk about how Austin. I think he thinks Austin is GOAT. Um, I think I think when we talk GOAT wrestling, because it's predetermined, I don't I don't think there's really a GOAT. Really, it's a different animal. It's a different discussion than like when you argue Brady versus whoever or Jordan and LeBron or whatever. I think it's a different argument because like when you when I look at John Cena like as a champion and as the face of the company, I think when you close your eyes and what he does not just in the ring, how he represents himself, but also the Make a Wish and everything else that he did on the outside and how he carried himself. Like when you close your eyes and you envision and you create this face of the WWE, that's who it is. When you think of who did it the best, who had the best in-ring mic skills, storytelling, that's Shawn Michaels. When you talk about who brought wrestling to new heights and at its peak and like got the biggest pops and was and had the highest peak above everybody, that and on top of it was great in the ring before the neck injury and had great mic skills, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. When you talk about who was who was the pillar that everybody stood on now that's making money, and that's Hulk Hogan. So I think there's different aspects of who who did what the best. And I that's why I don't think there's a wrong answer for wrestling. I think there's a wrong answer for football and basketball and baseball, but I don't think there's a wrong answer for wrestling. I mean, like if you said like, you know, you know, Gilbert is your greatest of all time, then yes, you're wrong. But like, you know, I think if you're talking Hogan, Austin, if you're talking Hogan, Austin, Michaels, even AJ Styles, I mean, John Cena threw his name in the hat too, but Cena, guys like that, if you're talking those names, I don't think there's a wrong answer.
Yeah.
I think it's more like I said, I think I personally and it goes down to your favorites. Sean is my favorite of all time. Dude, I cried when he retired. I
Yeah.
cried when he lost to Angle.
Yeah.
Like that guy will always be my goat. And so, but then at the same time, and when people would argue who was bigger, Hogan or Austin, I'll argue Austin all day because his peak was like nothing we've ever seen. And I don't think we'll ever see a peak like that. Like that peak was insane.
Yeah, that was so super peak. Like,
Yeah, I don't
because you did it, he did it so differently. Is because he was this he was essentially, and I'm not saying this in an offensive way, he was essentially the guy at the bar who became a wrestler.
Well, it was.
And he
You
was
got to
skilled
remember
in
the
his
time
craft, but
period.
it's just like he was so relatable. I mean, although I was I ain't gonna lie, shit, I ain't gonna even lie. Big Hulk Hogan fan. I used to have Hulk Hogan. I bought Hulk Hogan's weights when I was a child.
Oh, I hated Hogan as a
I,
kid.
I bought Hulk Hogan's weights. I never forget when I bought my first Hulk Hogan action figure. No, I got that for Christmas. Because back then, I don't know what they're doing now. We used to have these little gift exchanges back when we was in kindergarten. And I never forget. I got the 2-pack. I got Lex Luger and Hulk Hogan, and that's the only thing I would ever talk about when I would go to school outside of football was Hulk Hogan.
Wrestling.
And I never forget my teacher, Mrs. Madison. I'll never forget her. I'll never forget. I said, "Oh my God, Miss Madison, look, and I'll never forget. She said my real name. Don't she said my real name? Said, he done got Hulk Hogan. He ain't gonna never stop talking about Hulk Hogan. So yeah, Hulk Hogan was. Although I liked Hulk Hogan, he wasn't the most relatable guy. Everybody's not 6'9", 300 pounds of just bulk. In Austin, you can see. I can see him hanging out in the bar somewhere and drinking a beer and talking some shit. I can see that.
Well, the thing you look at, you have to look at the like you have to look at the era of what they represented. Look at what Hogan was
The Arnold Schwarzenegger of wrestling.
well, not even that, but he was kind of like the Superman of because that was still like the iconic superhero. Got to remember, like that was still that was the 80s, that was the Reagan era, that was
Lou Ferrigno, the action.
Christian
Yeah.
values. Take your vitamins, drink your milk, say your prayers, like that. Like you got to remember, like that was that era. And then you had the 90s, which
Anti-establishment.
is exactly, is anti-establishment, and Austin represented that perfectly.
Yeah.
And his with corporate greed and everything, like, he was a perfect representation of the everyman. So on top of it, not to mention, wrestling is a very, very, very blue collar industry, which is why I think the corporate, like corporatizing it right now is a really stupid move, because the blue collar people in this country are what kept wrestling alive for years. But Austin was such a blue collar. He's from Texas. He's a Texas, he's a rattlesnake drinking beer and
Going
whatever. And he just
hunting. Yeah.
yeah. So
Doing all that shit.
like that, he's a blue collar guy. So like what and if you look at the rise of John Cena, look at the NBA. That was that was the era of AI and West Coast, East Coast, gangster rap, and then it was a mix of him like evolving into a mix of that with the superhero type thing. It was like, look at the era that was in. So like wrestling, there's always been a thing where wrestling represents the time, the society at the time, okay,
Yeah.
and culture in general, and it mirrors it. It mirrors culture. It really does. If you look at wrestling, it mirrors culture right now. Look at now with wrestling and how corporatized it is. Look at how much corporations dominate right now, just in society.
I'm not gonna lie, though. You're right. You're right. But if you really want me to be honest, sometimes it's cool to have the machine behind you, but you
Yeah,
can't help but think about what it's going to become when it comes to corporate. Because I'm not going to lie, and got to end the segment pretty soon. Just as WCW written all over it, if you really want me to be honest with you, with how corporate it is. Because in a minute, it's going to be so watered down and so diluted to the point where I don't feel like it'll survive. It's like, say what you want to about Vince and the McMahon family, that shit survived. And I believe that, I really believe that it would have stood a chance. to survive. I don't think it's going to be here like as we know it in 20 years. But I will say this in closing, though. The only thing that I hate that we never got is a true bridging of the gap in every generation as far as, closing out one generation into another. I hate that we didn't get the passing of the torch era. I really believe we got cheated out of the Bret Hart Hulk Hogan matchup. That would have bridged the gap between the golden era and the new generation because he's the face of the new generation. I really feel like people are always going to say the passing of the torch was Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold, but I disagree. The true passing of the torch from the Attitude Era, to the Attitude Era, from the New Generation era, was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 13. That was the passing of the torch when that happened because you saw the train. The passing of the torch, which I hate that we didn't see, the passing of the torch was supposed to be Stone Cold versus Brock Lesnar from the Attitude Era to the Ruthless Aggression Era. Unfortunately, we never got that. We got The Rock instead. But I hate we never had that true passing of the torch moment where we saw it really cross over from the old generation to the new. Granted, Roman Reigns beat John Cena, but it wasn't the way I would have liked it to go. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a complainer. Like I said, I'm a spoiled brat. But I'm just gonna be real. But I hate that we never got a chance to see that match, a true passing of the torch from era to era to era. At times, sometimes it seems like and it kind of reflects. And speaking of the NBA, it kind of reflects the NBA. Like when you think about the NBA, we never got to see a true passing of the torch. Like the only true passing of the torch that we got to see, my generation got to see, was Magic to Jordan. We never got to see that true passing of the torch that we wanted to see. Now, many people would say the passing of the torch moment was when LeBron beat Tim Duncan, but I think it would have been true if he would have beat him twice. But Duncan and those guys came back and literally beat the hell out of the damn Heat, and that was not a true passing of the torch. We never got to see LeBron versus Kobe in that true just battle handoff, and I think that's a reflection of wrestling as well. But man, that was one hell of a segment, man. I knew doing this was a good idea first because I knew it was gonna take a while. But big ups to the rest of the minds that we have on this panel. I'm not talking about myself. I watch wrestling. These two gentlemen to my right, your left, they live, sleep, and breathe it, and they know the ins and out of it. So big ups to these brilliant men that I've teamed up with and that have allowed me to team up with them that know their wrestling like the back of their hand. There's not anything they're new. And if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of it, can't wait the baseball season starts so I can hear them cook about that. Let's get out of the wrestling realm and get out of kayfabe and go straight to the gridiron. Josh Allen, as the caption said on the advertisement on the promo, he ain't no joke. Was this his greatest performance last night, coming behind from a 20-point deficit, 21-point deficit in order to win the game? Because that was magnificent. I know that kind of pains you to say that, Flash, because you're a Patriots fan, but was this his greatest performance that you've ever seen? We'll start with you, Frank.
Was it his greatest?
Mm-hmm.
It's up there. I personally still think it was, the game against, it was the Kansas City game where him and Mahomes went blow for blow, and the only reason and Kansas City just won because they got the ball last. I personally still think that's his greatest performance, even though it was a loss. I mean, Gabriel Davis got a bag because of that one game. That should tell you all you need to know as far as how good Josh Allen was in that divisional game against Kansas City. That was insane. Or was it an AFC Championship? I can't remember. I think it was an AFC Championship. But either way, just the back and forth that those two did in Arrowhead, that playoff game was something to behold. But it's up there, and it's crazy though because like I went to Twitter and I saw all of the when the Patriots got up that 21-0 lead, and I saw all the tweets, and I didn't even realize it until like afterwards, and I was just like, damn, all y'all really tweeted that much, thinking the game was already over? Like,
I'm guilty.
whoa. You too. Oh Jesus!
I didn't.
Like,
All I text was MVP. All I said, I'm like MVP, and as soon as I sent it, I'm like, I shouldn't have sent that.
y'all shouldn't have. And the reason, and I'm not even saying it because of hindsight is 50-50. It's I posted this. I presented this question, I believe, on Brandon's pod, and I was like, because it's one of those where it's like we had presented, if Josh Allen, how we've been talking about as of late, Josh Allen and his chances of winning the Super Bowl this year, and how this is definitely his best shot to do it. Like we now know there's no Mahomes. We're iffy as far as Lamar going to be, as far as Lamar getting there. We know Burrow's not going to be there, so this is like his best shot. Because honestly, the AFC is going to be filled with a bunch of newbies in terms of playoff experience. And I kind of posted the question like, we're going to find out, is the experience of Buffalo going to be the deciding factor, been there done that, or is it going to be the youthful exuberance of someone like a New England and just saying, what, yeah, okay, you got the experience, so it's a new season, we want this. And I think that game answered a lot of questions for me, because that was a playoff atmosphere type game. I mean, New England all but clinches the AFC East if they beat the Buffalo Bills, and that was a playoff atmosphere. And for that team to come back the way they did, down 21-0, and winning that game, just I've kind of said, well, this answers a question of mine. I'm worried about New England if Buffalo sees them in the playoffs, because this was a playoff game. This was all intents and purposes a playoff game. I am worried about New England if they get Buffalo again in the playoffs, even if they win the division. If I'm New England, I'm like, oh boy, we got.
I'm not scared of them.
I'm not saying it's not about being scared. It's about being trustworthy in a big time situation. It's not even about being scared. I don't trust. We're down. I was on the fence as far as trusting them in the playoff setting. Now I know I don't, because you had a 21-0 lead, and you just, I hate to say you folded, but you let them come back and you win. You let them win.
Let's see how they follow up next week. Like, I'm not ready to don't get me wrong. If you ask me straight up, who do I trust more in the playoff game? Josh Allen or Drake May? Well, it's Josh Allen. He's got a resume. Drake May hasn't even played in a playoff game yet. So, I'm not like ready to just but to say I think it's a split series. They've both been close games. It's not like Drake May has never beaten Josh Allen or the Buffalo Bills. This isn't like a Josh Allen Mahomes situation.
No, not at all. This is not even like that. But even still, at the same time, I don't want to get on him too much, because I know Drake May is still young and he's still coming in his own as a player. But I can't. Yeah, you're young, and I don't want to harp on you. I can't harp on you too much because you're still getting your experience in. But I can't. But at the same time, I look at it from you being a professional. I can't hold back forever. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? I can't keep my mouth shut forever.
I think you understand my point. I think so. My point being is that I think they deserve the criticism for blowing a 21-point lead. Like, that's a valid criticism. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I wouldn't go as far as oh man, they fail in big moments, because they've won close games, including against Buffalo and some of the best teams in the league at this point. So, well, sort of. But so that's I'm not to go. They deserve all that criticism and all that smoke for blowing a lead like that. I just don't. I wouldn't go as far as I don't trust them. I don't think this is like a Kirk Cousins, the lights are on, and he folds situation. I just think
Yeah,
right now,
it's
unless it
okay.
becomes
Yeah,
10, unless it
yeah,
becomes
it's
10, then
yeah.
I'm on board with you. Unless it
I'll
becomes
I'll 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 give you that. But if they see each other, but it's still at the same time, it's like if Buffalo gets if it's Buffalo New England, whether it's the divisional or the AFC Championship, if they meet up again, I know who I'm picking. And I guess it's the
oh,
point it's the point I'm
yeah,
saying.
oh, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree. I think
Because no, see my thing was my whole point of this was I wasn't going to give Buffalo the benefit of the I wasn't going to give them the benefit of the doubt even though they've been there because they haven't always performed well in big time situations themselves, so I wasn't going to give them the full on benefit of the doubt. But now after witnessing that game, it's like Buffalo kind of like in terms of just I felt like they were the team. I felt like whether they were the 1 seed or the 2 seed, they were the team I felt like I trust the most going into the playoffs out of the AFC for having the experience. And I guess they kind of revalidated that for me after that game. But I will say this: they're not off the hook because their run defense is still bad because Trevion Henderson ripped them apart. So their run defense is still awful. They're not off the hook. That defense is still ain't the greatest. And for what it's worth, New England was smacking them in the mouth before Buffalo got their heads on straight. For what it's worth,
I it's interesting to your point about they're not up. I don't trust any AFC team right now. Like, there's not an AFC team that I'm like, yep. And I think I said this last week. Like, I don't trust Buffalo. I don't trust the Patriots. Even before this loss, they're a young football team. I mean, let's all be honest. And as much as you did say that they would be in playoff contention this year, you thought they'd come close. I don't think anybody thought they would be like this.
I didn't think they were going to be 1 seed. I didn't think they were going to be AFC 1 seed. Not at all.
Yeah. So, like, and then you look at, Casey's out now officially. Ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch. Anyways, like, that's great. Like, that's good. But I don't trust San Diego. Like, good God, I don't trust them. I don't really. We can get to the Denver Packer game. I'm sure we'll get to that point. I'll speak on them. But, like, I will say, like, if you go off immediate reaction, like right now, Denver's your, team you trust. But even then, you got a really young quarterback in Bo Nix. So, and you got mixed results at your skill position players. So, like, I think Denver's very beatable. Even though I love their defense and I love their secondary. I love their
Denver's very beatable. Denver's very beatable.
But they're very beatable. So, like, there is, like, obviously Pittsburgh's very beatable. Like, or whoever comes out of that crappy division. So yeah, I just think I think the AFC is wide open this year, like really wide open, and it's real. I think the whole league is as a whole, in fact. But we'll get farther into that.
Got to ask this question. This is a real quick question. Real quick. Is Josh Allen MV2? Is he back in the MVP conversation, or we just reach it? Or is the? And I asked you this question because we don't like, a lot of us don't like us on the podcasting side. Don't like the talking heads on TV. It seems like we just seem to just forget just that fast. His season has been good, not magnificent. It hasn't been on the level of. It hasn't been on the level of, let's say, Matthew Stafford had. So it's
for me. For me, that award is still Matthew Stafford's to lose.
So, but yeah,
go ahead. Sorry, BRF.
No, I'm just saying, like, I guess if you want to look at the performance and you want to look at what he's done for the season, if you want to put him in the convo, fine. I just think with what Matthew Stafford's done this season, I still think the award is his to lose.
I think with the loss yesterday, now it's Stafford's to lose.
I think it was Stafford's to lose even before that game.
I think if the Patriots do a stomping yesterday on Buffalo, and get the number 1 seed, or they're still lock in step with Denver for the number 1 seed. I think that elevated Drake May to now it's a coin toss. At least as of that moment, it would have been a toss. It could have changed in the next 3 weeks, of course. But I'm just saying, like at that moment, then it would have been a really legit argument of who's who. But now I think it's Stafford all the way.
Yeah.
They have, they have, they're tied for the second best record in the league. The number 1 seed in the NFC. He has been, they've been arguably the best football team all year, but now I kind of argue Denver right now is on that level. But then if you ask me who would win head to head, I'd probably say the Rams, maybe. But I think it's Stafford's to lose at this point. Like it's as disappointing as it is coming from a Patriot fan, but I think after yesterday's loss, yeah, I think he is. Do you now if this plays out now? If this next week plays out, and let's say Buffalo, Buffalo's not out of,
contention for the number 1 seed.
No.
Mm-mm.
So if they rebound and get, and they get the number 1 seed and Josh Allen plays lights out going into these playoffs, and let's say the Rams kind of falter and they lose the 1 seed to the Bears or whoever, the Bears or the Niners, or I don't think the Pack. We could talk about the Packers in a minute, but if they lose out and all of a sudden they drop to the 6th seed or whatever, and they're not in the number 1 seed, then I think there's an argument for Josh Allen. So I think, is he back in the discussion? I think there's potential for him to be back in the serious discussion. But right now, I think it's all Stafford. I think it's a one race pony, or one horse race right now, and he's the horse.
Okay. This is a. I'm sorry. This is a question that off the cuff, but I gotta ask this question real quick. What the hell is going on in Cleveland? How the hell does your quarterback get the wrong wristband? This is like.
I'm
I'm
done with the Cleveland Browns, bro.
I wasn't trying. Look, I'm just being real. I've been trying to avoid. I'm gonna come out the hat on this one, let you see all the hair that I still have and that I've lost at this point. But I've been trying to avoid the whole conspiracy theory thing because I'm just gonna be real. I really thought that they was tanking. But the fact that your quarterback has the wrong wristband with the wrong plays on it is kind of inexcusable as a coach, and you don't know how to answer it.
Again, I say this again, and people can criticize me all they want. You traded Baker Mayfield, who up until the last couple of weeks was an MVP candidate and was 1 win away from a Super Bowl and beating one bad play call, or one bad ref call from beating the Kansas City Chiefs for Bill Cosby, and then gave that man a $250 million guaranteed contract. That is one of the stupidest moves ever in sports history. I said it in the moment. It was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. So the fact that Shedeur Sanders got the wrong wristband does not fucking shock me. And I'm at this point, Kevin Stefanski should go. Like, I would wipe house. I just would. You know what? They should just sell the franchise. That poor Cleveland fan base. Like,
I don't know what selling it is going to do, because the thing is, I'm gonna just be real. God rest his soul. The minute the great Art Modell got the hell out of Dodge, he won a championship. And it wasn't. And although we look right now and revere that Baltimore Ravens team, at the time, in real time, That was not a fucking pretty team. I saw that team in real time. That was not a pretty team. Remember, that was the same team that went 5 games straight and they did not score an offensive touchdown. And they won 2 of the games. That was a defensive team. So the minute Art Modell said, F this, I'm getting the hell out of here. You don't want to build me a new stadium. You don't want to help me out. You want me to go broke? The hell with you guys. I'm going to Baltimore where they have look, people don't understand this. They have a solid fan base out there in Baltimore anyway. There's a documentary about Baltimore, the band that wouldn't die. Even when the Baltimore Colts left, that band did not die. So they had a strong fan base there already. They just needed to come back. But yeah, I mean, the minute Art Modell left that, they were up there in championship status. And if you really want me to be honest with you, there has not been a time where Baltimore hasn't at least been in the playoff conversation since they've been in Baltimore. Versus the Cleveland Browns, ever since they built the new stadium and they're building a new one, which I don't understand how the hell you get 2 new stadiums built in the last 25 years and you have not won but 1 playoff game. Usually, I'm just going to be real. Usually when stadiums are being built, the team gets good all of a sudden. It's a common trend. Never fails. When a team is about to get a new stadium and the team is all of a sudden, they have a couple good years or they're good all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden, we need a new stadium. Well, you guys are winning. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about Cleveland at this point, man. Like I stated, this is a subject that I've been avoiding, but I have been avoiding at this point in time. But I truly believe it now. Either you, in the great words of Sam Rothstein off of my favorite movie, Casino, either you too dumb to have this job or you're in on it. And either or is not good. Either you're too dumb to have this job and I need to fire you, or you're in on this stupidity and I need to fire you. And for those of y'all who don't know what scene I'm talking about, that's the scene where he was in the casino and one of the pit bosses had 5 jackpots and didn't pull the plug on the slot machine. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I try to avoid conspiracy theories, and I will make a video about this on TikTok later tonight, even after this old lackluster ass game is finished. But yeah, I've been trying to avoid the whole conspiracy theory. But at this point, bruh, how the hell does your head coach give you the wrong play wristband with the wrong plays on it? I don't understand that. Like I said, I've been trying to avoid it. It's like I've been trying to be fair and impartial and not get involved in this whole conspiracy theory thing.
Oh wait. Well, hold on a second. What conspiracy theory are you talking? Like just sabotage?
Yeah, the whole sabotage Sador thing. But the thing is,
I don't think
no. But the thing is, but that goes back to what I just said. Either you're too stupid to have this job and you need to be fired,
yeah,
or you're in on it and you need to be fired.
I don't think this
I don't
is
know, man. I don't think you can. He can't be this stupid.
Yeah, dude, have you seen people?
That
I work in the technology field.
A two-time coach of the year can't be this dumb.
Yeah,
I work in the technology field. I see a lot of dumbass people. I see people who don't even know how to open up their email. But the thing is, I don't know anybody dumb enough to give me the wrong assignment when I come to work.
Why haven't we questioned his brain power before this season?
Nope.
No, Flash has.
I started to question the fact that whether he should be the head coach or not.
Yeah. But like I stated, either you're
too dumb. Not just back to back. It's always something.
It's like either you're too dumb to have this job or you are in on the conspiracy at this point.
It's
Either
always
one of the
it's
two is
always
not good.
something. It's always something. Your dumbass thought Dylan Gabriel was the better quarterback than Shadir for one, and just it's something. It's always something.
What, dude?
Always something.
Look at this organization. This isn't like, again, you like, people can be this stupid. One, go to a Walmart. Two, go look at our politicians. And I'm not
You had to go there, didn't you?
I'm just saying.
You had to go there, didn't you?
Go to a wall. You like those. You go to Walmart. You go look at our politicians and tell me somebody can't be this stupid. Of course they can.
Oh,
To give you
Jesus.
the wrong damn assignment? What the hell was you thinking?
Exactly.
Yeah, look at him.
What kind of dope was you smoking that day when you went to work? I mean, I'm just want to know, what kind of dope was you smoking that day?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, I at some point, again, I'm of the mindset. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good conspiracy theory, but at the same time, I think most of them are pretty overblown and stupid, because you can literally attribute stupidity what you can, instead of malice. You just can. It's just people are dumb. It just is what it is, and throw it away. So it just is what it is. That's just how people are. People are stupid, and I think at this point, I don't understand. Here's the thing with, if we're just talking pure Kevin Stefanski, whether he should have a job or not. How do you bring him back next year when you make that incompetent of a move?
You don't.
You don't. You don't have any respect from anybody. At least I wouldn't. I couldn't respect, like, on top of everything else.
Yeah.
It's not like, if this just randomly, here's the stupid thing, is like, how long did it take him to figure out that it was the wrong wristband?
Again, either, like I stated, and I hate to be repetitive.
I think he tried to run back out.
Either you did it on purpose, which I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say you did it on purpose.
I think he ran on the field. I think he ran on the field, looked at the wristband, tried to run back to the sideline. So I think he noticed it pretty quick, but I don't know.
But here's the thing. This speaks to more that, like, if you're talking about sabotaging or conspiracy theory, this sabotages more Kevin Stefanski than it does Shador. This makes Stefanski look stupid and his staff, because there's an equipment manager.
Yeah.
So this speaks to if you're talking about any kind of conspiracy theory, I don't think this is the case. I just think this is incompetence. This speaks more to Kevin Stefanski's, like, you're going to get rid of him.
Being an unforgiving idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was avoiding that topic. I'm going to talk about it more on TikTok, but I had to get y'all's opinion about that. Another quarterback that I would really love y'all's opinion on is Joe Burrow. There's been a lot of talk about, how he made the little fun statement. If I'm not having fun, then I shouldn't be doing it. There's been a lot of speculation. Now, granted, he's going to say all the right things. I applaud him for that. The media training, absolutely. But should he pull a Carson Palmer and request a trade at this point?
If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I am calling them tomorrow. As soon as the season is over. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, the hell with JJ McCarthy at this point. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I am getting on the phone. I am trying to reunite Joe Burrow with Justin Jefferson as soon as this season is over. Now, the funny thing about it is they put a list up of the 5 best landing spots for Joe Burrow. Guess who was 3?
Who?
Atlanta.
We were.
How?
I don't know.
Fucking quarterback.
But we ain't got the capital to get a Joe Burrow. We don't have the draft capital to get a Joe Burrow. So I don't know. I personally think we're probably, if Minnesota's the best fit, I personally think we're the second best fit. The problem is we ain't got the draft capital to go out and get a Joe Burrow. We just don't. So I'm looking at it like it's the Minnesota Vikings if Cincinnati makes Joe Burrow available, it's the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like you have the necessary things needed in order to pull off a trade like that. And guess what? If you're gonna acquire a Joe Burrow, buy JJ. You're in the package. You're in the package. You're going to Cincinnati. You're a part of the package. So if I'm the Minnesota Vikings at the end of the season, the second Joe Burrow's available, I'll give you JJ. I give you some firsts and some seconds.
And Dallas
Can
Turner.
we talk? And Dallas Turner. Can we talk? And the Cincinnati Bengals would be dumb to shoo that away. They would be dumb to shoo that away. So I kind of we'll look at it and see where it goes. But I feel like the only team that has a good enough trade package to get a Joe Burrow is the Minnesota Vikings.
San Francisco.
They literally just paid Purdy.
I mean,
they get it. Nah,
the only thing, I'm just gonna be real.
JJ makes it easier because of his rookie deal.
That does is make you easier to fucking trade. You locked in, that means I can send your ass off somewhere.
I mean, they were both just signed to big contracts, but honestly, I think the funny thing is the other best fits are in the division. That's the bad part. It would be Pittsburgh and Cleveland. But I think the one that people keep bringing up, and I think that makes actually the most sense, even though as much as I don't want to see him. I love Joey Burrow, so I don't want him to go to a team that I can't.
As a Packer fan, you do not want to see him in Minnesota.
Nope, I want to root for him, and so, but I don't. It'd be hard for me to root for him if he went to this team too. But if you're the Rams, and Stafford is on his way out, let's say he wins an MVP and another Super Bowl this year, and he retires. If you're the Los Angeles Rams,
you got to jump at that too. I'm with you.
Again, and look, I'm going to just be real. Let's just be real. The Rams have a habit of saying one phrase and one phrase only.
YOLO?
No, fuck them picks.
F them picks.
Fuck them picks. Fuck them picks. No, the general manager when they won the Super Bowl. That's the shirt that he had on. Man, fuck them picks.
What's his name? Old Mr. Sneed wearing that shirt.
Yeah, I can't. Fuck them picks.
Like when I look at the league right now on where he could go. Now I don't know. The thing is, like, I mean, of course, you got teams like New Orleans and shit like that, but New Orleans is going to trade for him, that need a quarterback. But I just go through the conference right now. So we just mentioned the Rams. It's not going to be the Bears. Philly's not going to do it. I saw somebody earlier bring up Tampa Bay, which I don't mind that, but Tampa Bay's not going to go and trade Baker Mayfield for Burrow.
No, they're not.
As much as that's an upgrade, but then you got Seattle. They're not going to go. They've been great this year. Darnold's been fantastic.
Indianapolis.
They're not going to do it. Detroit's not going to do it. Carolina's not. Dallas won't. Minnesota, we already talked about.
Indianapolis.
That was the other team. I thought about Indy, but Danny Dimes was great this year, and he's cheaper. And so I want to bring up a secondary point. Not that he asked for a trade, but I mean
you can see it in his face too.
What?
You could that press conference. You could kind of you could kind of see it in his face a little bit.
Like I don't. A reporter asked him like, "Well, what's wrong? Is it football, personal?" And he just basically said like everything right now. And I think brother's going through some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I mean this in all sincerity, prayers to him, and I hope he gets through that shit or whatever he's going through. But I bring this up right now. He's been. Let's be honest right now. Let's just, two things can be true at the same time. If he is healthy, he is the best quarterback in the league, besides Mahomes. Okay, Probably, and Josh Allen. Like, there's an argument between those three. If he is healthy, I think even you make an argument for Josh Allen. I think Joe Burrow would be the best quarterback in the league. Whatever. That's an argument for another day. But he's not, though. And to Champ's point, if you're in the tub all the time, you're not playing. He's been injured prone a lot lately. I don't think the likely question is whether he asked for a trade or not. I think, does he pull an Andrew Luck
and retire early?
Retire early.
I would hate to see that, man. That would fuck with me. I'm not gonna lie.
As a Joe Burrow fan, yeah, because like
that would really bother me, man, because but we've seen it happen before because you can't protect me. I'm getting my ass knocked the fuck out, and you're not improving the offensive line. You're being cheap as dog shit, and it's bothering me. It's just like, no,
cheap. I mean, they paid.
No, you have to. I won't say you're being cheap, but you're not making smart decisions. Yes, you gave me what I asked for as far as my wide receiver.
They finally spent money this year. They have been cheap for years. The argument's valid. They just finally spent money because Joe Burrow finally just stepped up and said, "Hey, you better keep my guys here."
If you don't keep my damn guys here, you can see me out the fucking door, and I don't blame them for saying it. Like, no, you're not finna keep getting me out here getting killed. Fuck you. I will tell them, and forgive my language, but I will tell them that. You're not finna keep sending me out here to the gallows, and then all of a sudden you want to blame me for how fucked up this franchise is. No. You did that to Carson Palmer. And Carson Palmer finally had enough of it and told you, hey, we need to get aggressive about free agency. We need to get aggressive about getting players re-signed. And finally, he said no.
Pittsburgh running them down. Pittsburgh is running them down.
But I would hate to see him retire. But everybody has been saying he's the next Andrew Luck because he's been hurt a lot.
He's the quarterback that after Brady retired, that was going to be my guy, and then he still is kind of my guy. I love Joey B, but he's just like, he's been hurt so much, and I thought once they got to the Super Bowl, and even though they lost to the Rams in the final minutes, I thought this might be we might I always talk about like you are who you are until you're not. Like, I thought this would be a moment of like this franchise as a whole not being a laughing stock anymore, and unfortunately, you are until you're not.
If you ever notice with the the Cincinnati Bengals, every time they've made the Super Bowl with a quarterback, that's been the absolute crescendo of that particular quarterback.
Yeah, Ken Anderson.
It was Ken Anderson. That was his crescendo.
Yeah.
The MVP made the Super Bowl, lost to the 49ers. Boomer Esiason, that team that he had, monster-ass team. When you talk about Eddie Brown, when you talk about James Brooks, when you talk about Ickey Woods, even although he went down right before the with that drug issue that he had, when you think about Stanley Wilson, the fullback, then had Tim Cromry on that team, who was one hell of a nose tackle. After that year, that was the crescendo of that quarterback. The funniest thing about it is they give the Cleveland Browns a hell of a lot of hell in the 90s when it comes to quarterbacks, but they had one guy who was a Pro Bowler during that time, and that was a guy by the name of Jeff Blake. But when he made the Pro Bowl during that time, that was his absolute crescendo. That was the absolute loudest, and then it faded. And then you saw it with Carson Palmer. You saw him making the playoffs that first time, the crescendo, and then the downfall goes. And then Joe Burrow, the crescendo for one more year because he made back-to-back AFC championship. That was the crescendo.
It seems like this franchise can't break the glass ceiling.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then it just stops, and it's sad too because this is kind of a random topic, but like when I was a kid though, when I was a little kid, one of the oldest I have a scarf, an old Cincinnati Bengals scarf, still from the '80s or whatever. And I grew up on the Icky Shuffle and Boomer Esiason and stuff like and that, and they just, man, it just. I was expecting Joey Burrow to. Fuck, I don't know. And the thing is I look at the options. I think the Minnesota Vikings is the best option. I don't know about their draft capital.
I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are the best option. I just think they can probably make the deal for them. I don't think they're the best option. I think they can make the deal.
Well, who do you think is the best option then?
San Francisco.
Atlanta's the best option. They just can't make the deal. Atlanta's the best option. They just can't make the deal.
Are they?
Bruh. They have more pieces on both sides of the ball than the Minnesota Vikings do. The problem is they can't make the deal. They can't make the deal. And another thing, they're probably not even going to do anything until they know who's going to be the coach. So they're just kind of in a situation like they don't need to make any decisions like that on a Joe Burrow right now. They don't need to do anything like that. They need to figure out their stuff in house before they even try anything like that. Their best bet is to go out and either going to be Kirk Cousins or they're going to have to go out and just get some bridge guy until Penix comes back healthy. That's pretty much what they're going to do.
Yeah, you guys are in trouble.
Yep, we're in trouble. We know.
You guys are in trouble. I know we all went back and forth and on when Penix was drafted, and I thought it was silly, but
until we get somebody to properly develop Penix, because this staff was not it. Unless we get somebody to properly develop him, I don't know what to say at this point, because these quarterbacks, I don't think it's a lack of quarterback talent within this incoming league. I think it's a lack of quarterback development within this league. They don't have anybody. They don't have an offensive coordinator more than 2 to 3 years, because, hey, when you think about the coordinators, offensive coordinator, you have a good enough offensive coordinator, he's gonna be gone within 1 to 2 years. The thing about Drake May is the advantage that he's gonna have Josh McDaniels for years to come, because ain't nobody stupid enough to hire his ass again for a head coaching job. And
I said that last week.
And if you are, you ought to be beat with a Rick Rack paddle. I'm just gonna be real. So that's just being real. That's the thing about Drake May, the fact that he's gonna have the advantage for playing for if everything works the way it needs to work, he's gonna have he's gonna have
the name.
Go ahead.
The name, if they do fire Raheem Morris, the name I look at for Atlanta to come in and be the next head coach is Clint Kubiak. It's Clint Kubiak. I think Clint Kubiak would make a lot of sense.
You're talking about for the Texans, right?
No, he's the yeah. Is he the Texans or is he the Seahawks offensive coordinator?
Is that Gary Kubiak's son?
Yeah, I think he's a Seahawks offensive coordinator.
He is.
If you tell me he played for the Broncos, I'm literally gonna bust out laughing.
He is the current offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, and he was the offensive coordinator for the last year for the New Orleans Saints. And then prior to, in the 2023 season, he was the passing coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. And he was with the Vikings as the quarterback's coach and the offensive coordinator in 2021. So he's kind of bounced around a little bit. He was with the Broncos as offensive assistant from 2016 to 2018. The Vikings for about 3 years. 3 years with the Vikings, 1 year with the Broncos, and then he's been one single year. I think that's a good possibility. As him to go to Atlanta, that would be a possibility. Don't be surprised though. Like he probably will be one of the hotter prospects, because you're gonna have to deal with Cleveland probably looking for a head coach. Depending on what happens in Cincinnati, and Burrow's comments and how that shakes out, you could very well see Zach Taylor out, so that's a possibility. I don't think the Raiders are going to get rid of Pete Carroll, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to keep their coordinators. They already got rid of Chip Kelly, so they're going to do some in-house work. I don't think this will happen, but who know? Could the Ravens fire John Harbaugh? Because so if you're Clint Kubiak, where would you go to coach? Would you go to Lamar Jackson or? There's going to be a possibility of a lot of coach openings, especially in the AFC this year.
Todd Monken.
Yeah, no, I know that's a guy.
If he makes himself available.
Yeah. There's going to be some coach openings. So we'll see. I'm curious to see what happens this offseason when it comes to coaching. And how stuff shakes out quarterback wise. Like, I mean, you got Burrow. It's going to be some weird teams that are going to be like, Rodgers is probably going to retire after this year. He said this is probably his last year. What happens in Baltimore? What happens with Joey B? What happens in Cleveland? Personally, I think Cleveland. I think Stefanski goes, and I think
he leaves too.
I think he leaves too. I think they get rid of him and they start over by drafting one of the top quarterbacks coming out this year, and they completely start over. I don't. And it's not even. This isn't an indictment on Shedeur Sanders, but usually when they bring in a whole new thing, they're going to start over. So I just don't. I don't.
Yep. Moving forward, back, forth and forth. Death of a dynasty, I would say thus far. What do the Chiefs have to do? Real quick. We're gonna do 2 minutes apiece. What do the Chiefs have to do in order to rebuild this team? We'll start with
you. Go first, Flash.
I'll be
No, Flash go first.
I just want to say, ding dong, the witch is dead. Yay! Now, I am not cheering the fact that Mahomes got hurt yesterday. I want to make that clear. I don't want to see anybody hurt like that. But as for the dynasty itself, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that they're not making the playoffs this year. Do I think the dynasty is dead? No. But at the same time,
version of it.
This version of it, the Kelsey, Andy Reid, Mahomes, possibly Steve Spagnuolo run. This version of the dynasty is dead. But this is everybody who's a lot of the Chiefs Twitter is in total defense mode right now. They are they are just in they're scrambling and well, this is still the greatest. And I just want to point out right now. So Mahomes and the Chiefs, they didn't make the playoffs this year. He tore his ACL in late December. All of next season is shot now too. Let's be real. All of next season, they're not going to make the playoffs for 2 years in a row now. And now you got to do now you're definitely not going to have Travis Kelsey. Andy Reid is how old is Andy Reid right now?
They need a new offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy got to go for one.
Andy Reid's 67, so he can still go. And he's not that old yet.
They need Matt Nagy. Get Matt Nagy.
Bring back Eric.
Bring back Eric.
Bring back Eric. Shit.
Yeah, but okay. Here's the thing, though. Was he ever really calling? He wasn't really calling plays that much. It was all Andy Reid. Andy Reid's the offensive coordinator. Let's be real here. Does it really matter?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
It's whether Andy Reid wants to give up play calling duties. Andy Reid's been one of the best play callers of all time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what you do. That's the weird thing. Is what do you do if you're the Chiefs? The offense is sputtering. The receivers haven't worked out like a lot of us thought. Kareem. Honestly, the running backs haven't worked out. The defense is still pretty solid. Spagnuolo is still pretty good. If you look at Mahomes' stats overall, his stats were still fine this year, but I wouldn't say he didn't have an awful year. I mean, I could. So I don't know.
For the bad AFC games.
Look,
I mean, he's top 4 in yards. He's let's see, he's like 9th or 10th or 11th in touchdowns. Okay, he's had a crappy year.
What I don't like with some of their fans is they're trying to play the whole he needs help card, forgetting the fact that he won a Super Bowl with Juju Smith-Schuster as his de facto number one.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear the whole he needs help when he's won championships with far less talent. The receiver core he has now is far better than the receiver core he had when he won his third championship.
Dude, he's got Hollywood Brown, he's got Worthy,
Xavier Worthy, he's got Rasheed Rice. He's got talent at that receiver core. They're not all the tallest. They're not all the tallest, but sometimes it's not necessarily about the height. It's the explosiveness that they all bring.
The other thing too, he's still got he's still got Taylor Swift's boyfriend. I
don't think he's going to after this year, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I think he's done too. Even when he does get open now he drops the ball. I mean, he's just but
he's a shell of himself.
He's a shell of himself, and I'm not trying to hate on him. It just is what it is. Again, all the Chiefs fans are in scramble mode. It's fine. It's cute. And this is coming from, I'm just going to be blunt and honest with you. It was cute for a minute. Y'all thought you guys were going to have a dynasty like the Patriots. Y'all thought that you were going to have, that he was going to be the GOAT. And he was going to take the torch from Tom Brady. Motherfuckers, no. I'm sorry, but this goes to this crap about everybody wants to just anoint everybody all the time. This shows how hard it is to make it in the NFL and how hard it is to win in the NFL. I'm sorry, but even if you go to last year, there was no reason that Chiefs team should have been in the Super Bowl.
Nope. Look, I'm going to say this plain and I'm going to say this simple. You know how you can rebuild a team? Do you know where it starts when you already have a quarterback?
Offensive line?
Yes! Because I will say it once. I will say it again. I will say it a million, for billion, for trillion times. The quarterback can't throw on his back. And that big hole that was left by Joe Thuney and their star center was a gaping hole. So, yeah, you lost a lot. Look, you can replace every other piece that you have on your team. You can replace wide receivers. You can replace running backs. You can replace fullbacks. You can do a lot of things.
That offensive line was not good this year.
But you cannot replace great Hall of Fame offensive line that easily.
Exactly. You took him off of that offensive line. That offensive line production just dipped.
Nasty as hell. So yeah, that's the main thing. I believe that they need to rebuild offensive line, because guess what? A lot of free agency, you can rebuild through the draft. You can rebuild. It takes time to develop great offensive line.
It does.
For every Joe Alt and for every Rashad Slater, there's a lot of guys that we had high on our list as far as offensive line that went through the shitters once they got to where they needed to be. So yeah, you got to start with the line.
For every Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, there's a Robert Gallery. Took him a lot of time before he finally got it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a Robert Gallery. What do I think about the Dallas Cowboys saying they thinking they need to fire? Look, DC, you're my guy, but there's been too much discourse about the Dallas Cowboys. We didn't look. I'm gonna just be real. I'm gonna take a page out of BRF's book on this, and then I'll end that segment on this. We did not expect Dallas to do any darn thing, even before they traded Micah Parsons. After they traded him, we knew they wasn't going to do anything. Now, they got better here and there. George Pickens was
He
broke
was a
out.
godsend for them. He was a godsend for them.
And CD Lamb, you got the chance to see what a lot of things are going to do. But as far as the team as a whole, we really didn't expect anything from it. I don't know why there's this discourse of, are y'all those boys now? Oh, I thought y'all was them boys. We didn't expect it. Look, it's kind of like, let's just look. I'm gonna just be blunt. I don't like being blunt. I'm gonna just be blunt. It's kind of like a straight F student making straight Fs. Did you really expect him to make C's? Did you really expect this motherfucker to make the honor roll? No. We expected you to make Fs. We expected the Cowboys to make Fs and not make the playoffs. So that's exactly what
I,
they did.
in fairness, I did say they were a potential wild card team.
Who?
I did say they were a potential wild card team. In fairness, I just didn't trust the talent mainly on the defensive side of the ball. I knew what the offense was going to do because, I mean, Dak Prescott, I mean, we give Dak Prescott all the crap in the world. That man has toted that team on his back all year. And the fact that they even have a 1% chance after the games yesterday, the fact that they even have a 1% chance to still get in is a testament to how much of a carry job this has been for Dak Prescott this year. But man, it's the Cowboys, man. I mean, what else? What else do you expect from the Dallas Cowboys? And I mean, yeah, it's like we talk about that mediocre ass team entirely too much. I've just they. I mean, it's like. I mean, they get on our team for coming in with all the hype and not delivering. Well, good God, the Dallas Cowboys have been the kings of that since 1996.
Uh, but yeah, we already knew that they wasn't gonna do nothing. Like I said, we expected them to make Fs, and they made Fs. But yeah. Real quick. Are the Jaguars for real? And is this the season that Trevor needed in order to kind of put the talk to rest at this point? We got 2 minutes apiece. A
He,
hard, a hard
gotta,
2 minutes.
I gotta give it to Trevor Lawrence, man. He's balling. I gotta give it to him this year. He balling. He's been playing well the last few games. I can't knock him. You know what I'm saying? If we gonna get on him when if we gonna give him all these nicknames like T mid and all this other stuff when he's not playing at the par, when he's actually balling, we gotta give him some credit regardless of of who the competition is. He's played well. He's played well. Um, I still don't think they're like a legit contender, but the fact that they're 10-4, it's a test. I think it's a testament to Liam Cohen has been a solid addition as head coach. Solid addition. You got to give him that. But the past month and a half, Trevor Lawrence is showing up. He is showing up. And ultimately, the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to live and die by the sword that's Trevor Lawrence. Oh, now the defense has been balling too. No one even talking about the defense and how well they've been playing these last few games. But they live and die by the Trevor Lawrence sword. And Trevor Lawrence is actually like that game yesterday. We've been waiting on that Trevor Lawrence. 300 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns passing, and 1 rushing. Like, that's the Trevor Lawrence we've been waiting on. I don't know if he's going. You ain't even got to do that every week. Just stay consistent, and then have a blow up like that every once in a while to show, hey, when it's time to take over, I can do it. So even I don't think they're a contender, but I am happy to see that they're winning games and he's playing well and he's actually starting to. He's not fulfilled it by any stretch, but he's starting to show why so many people were high on him coming out of the draft, coming out of Clemson. He's starting to show that. He just has to maintain that.
Flash.
I think he's for real. That's a. We'll see. we were all ready to anoint again. We were all ready last week to anoint Shedeur Sanders because he had one really good game, and then he, wristband or not, played a terrible football game. So let's just wait and see. I want to see. This is why I'm really curious right now on the playoffs coming up. Is what quarterback right now is gonna surprise us? And I know we have Josh Allen. We have him. We have Matthew Stafford, and then as long as Philly gets in, we got Justin. We got Hurts. After that, all of these other quarterbacks have something to prove. All of them. Which one is going to make a step forward? Is it going to be C.J. Stroud? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be Caleb Williams, who, honest to God, is playing the best football right now that he has? I know they lost to Green Bay last week, but he's been playing really well. Like he's playing, like he's starting to put it together. Is it going to be Jordan Love? Does he finally put it together? Even though we lost Micah Parsons, and that was extremely sad. I don't really want to talk about it. Is it going to be Bo Nix? Is it going to be Drake May? Who's going? Is it going to be Justin Herbert? Who C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence? Who's going to step up? So that's what I'm curious. Are we just going to get a Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford Super Bowl? It's going to be those two guys, and that's it, or is somebody going to surprise us? That's what I want to see.
I think the team that has a shot to make a Cinderella run and shock some people is Houston. I think it's Houston as far as like a dark horse. That defense, frightening.
Yeah,
I think they might be the most frightening singular unit going into the playoffs. That includes the LA Rams offense. That includes the New England offense. That includes the Denver defense. Houston's defense might be the singular most devastating unit going into the playoffs. They are insanely good. They are good from front to back. There are absolutely no weaknesses on that defense. They are frightening.
Leave, damn it.
Prince Charming from Shrek.
you ain't wrong.
Man, that's Sunshine from Remember the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah. That damn Leaf, bro. He has been killing me in these damn comments. I haven't had a chance to read them all before I brought them up. One last question, real quick, before we end it all and go Carmelo and risk it all. As far as coaching, which coach would a Super Bowl mean more to? We talk about the players all the time. Which coach would a Super Bowl mean much to? I'm going to go first. Sean McDermott.
You took mine.
Sean McDermott. Because when you talk about Sean McDermott, he's essentially mentioned like Ron Rivera was when Cam Newton was at Carolina. A defensive coach who at times does not know what to do with this freakish type of athlete that he has. And, especially towards the back end of Cam's career down in Carolina. When they win, they never give Sean McDermott any credit. When they lose, they point at McDermott, you're the fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they're in position to take over the number one seed and potentially get it back, what are you going to say as a fan base? What are you going to say as the big? And if he wins the Super Bowl, is this just complete validation for him at this point? I think it would be.
Yeah, you definitely took mine because as far as just past performances and getting close and not getting over the hump, for me is easily Sean McDermott.
Yes,
because there's not another coach with as many disappointments to where a Super Bowl would just relieve every single bit of turmoil. It's easily Sean.
I got
go for it, Paul.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yep, forgot. Yep, him too. He's right up there too.
But
either one of those guys, it would do equal amount for either of those guys.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's a good choice too.
That's the talk about disappointment. That's an understatement. That's the other one. I think those two. Like I'm kind of just kind of going through the list of coaches, and honestly, those are the only two real candidates. Everybody else
Yeah,
is kind of as
everybody else is like new blood at this point,
for the most part, or they're established. You got
or they're established.
yeah. So I'm not. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I think it's those two guys.
Yeah. And Kyle Shanahan, hell of a coach. You can tell how good of a coach he is, and how you gonna do the white man can't jump on this and see if we can do it. Yeah. You know how no, won't stay up. You know how Western State was wearing his hat? Yeah, there we go. You gonna do it like that. But yeah, you can always with the injuries that Kyle Shanahan has had this year, he definitely deserves a harder looking coach of the year, man. And I'm surprised
But,
that we're
but
talking.
exactly the fact that he has the 49ers in the position that they're in to make the playoffs with, I mean, no Ayuk, no Bosa, just
Just tape,
just
just
shout out to him. Shout out to
just tape,
Shanahan.
just taping concrete. So just taping concrete and a little bit of rubber cement. So yeah. On that note, guys, look, as I always say, we ain't gotta go home, but we got to get the hell out of here. Any final thoughts that y'all would like to add at the conclusion of this magnificent show?
Oh boy. Um. No, not really. I would go on about like the injuries and stuff like that, but I think that's my. We didn't really go through our MVPs or our duds, but I think the big dud is the amount of injuries this past week. It was really disappointing and sad, and changed the trajectory of the NFL playoffs in a big way. Not only for this playoff run, but next year's too. When you have like someone like Mahomes and Micah Parsons go out, you know, the Parsons injury, I guess, is I don't know. It's just sad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed with the Parsons injury too because he really made that he came in and he made that Green Bay defense a lot more formidable and a lot more like to be feared.
Yeah.
And even though I still think they're going to play good ball, a lot of the fear factor is gone
Yeah.
from the Green Bay defense now because at least you know what Michael Park like you have no one that's like, oh man, we gotta account for him. We got to know where he is every single snap. You don't have that with the front seven with the Green Bay Packers anymore. You don't have that. I mean,
No.
Rashawn Gary's good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Michael Parsons. He's not the game wrecker. He's not the game changer Michael Parsons is. So he for me, he's the X factor for that Green Bay defense. He's got to be the one to step up and maybe not necessarily to a Micah Parsons level, but he has to be on a level we have not seen with him yet, as far as just being more of a game wrecker and a game changer. Rashawn Gary has to be that guy to step up for the Green Bay defense. But yeah, man, just all the injuries as of late. You know, not just Mahomes and Parsons, Daniel Jones and what he's gone through, and just it's been a rough go. It's been a rough watch
Yeah.
to see a lot of these high profile players, you know, making impacts going down. It's been a tough watch. And speedy recoveries to all of them. We want them back on the field ASAP as soon as possible. You know, Achilles and torn ACLs, they are probably the two worst injuries to get in the league. So definitely wish all of those guys speedy recoveries.
Yeah, and make no mistake, I make jokes about about the death of the Chiefs dynasty and everything. The league is a better league with Mahomes in it.
Yeah.
Let's make no mistake about that. So you know, the league as a whole, what's disappointing is that we could have had a really epic playoff in the last couple of weeks. We've just got destroyed by injuries, And now it just kind of, not that it's not ruined, but it's just couldn't have been as, yeah.
Yeah.
The NFL's but the NFL is built on star power.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and it's built on star power, and you don't want to see those guys go down. But I mean, it's the NFL. They're going to get ratings regardless. It's the NFL, but they thrive on star power, and it sucks to see a lot of those guys go out like that.
Yes, indeed. But on this note, here's what I would like to do. I'd like to thank you two brilliant gentlemen for being a part of this movement. Like I state all the time, we are co-owners of this podcast. I want to make that very, very clear. We are co-owners of this podcast. Each of us own 3 equal shares. We're co-owners. So I want to thank my co-owners of this league that we're a part of this thing that we're a part of. I would like to thank y'all for all the hard work that we've gotten to thus far this year. A lot of milestones have been reached this year. We are now up to 206 subscribers at this point in time. We are now up to that, and we have almost 73,000 views. Almost 73,000 views. So getting up there, man. Keep supporting the movement, guys. Keep hitting that like and subscribe button. We love to entertain. Like I stated, we have a good rundown of what we're going to say during the show. But guess what? Everything you see is authentic, is unscripted. It's not, we don't get together and have huddles before. This is what we're going to say. No, everything you hear us say is very, very authentic and very, very real. And one thing that I loved about the conversation that we had earlier about the wrestling and the goats is, like I stated, each prospective goat that we chose fits our personalities. So, you really can't discount that. And I appreciate you, brilliant gentlemen, for being part of the pod. I appreciate all the hard work that you guys do and the hard work that you put in. And man, I appreciate y'all for being my friends more than anything, man. Because without friendship, without trust, without respect, nothing can really go far. And speaking of respect, guys, all of you out there in TV land, listen. Do not act the fool between now and New Year's. Because your ass ain't getting out. Just being real. Christmas is, I think, next Thursday. You go to jail right about now. Yeah, you might well just get somebody to put some on your books, partner. Unless you got that money and a lawyer, you're going to be in there. So drink responsibly. Don't act a fool. It's Christmas time. It's about the Lord. Look, whatever gripes and complaints and transgressions that you have, patch that up real quick and pack it up. Ain't no sense in having that going into the new year. We're almost done. I'm proud of the young men that is on this pod with myself, with the accomplishments that they have accomplished outside of the podcast this year. We will not blast that. I will not blast that because that was sold in private, but I want to say publicly that I'm proud of each and every last one of you for the things that you have accomplished this year. And I think each and every one of us on this podcast, when going into this year, we understood the assignment of what needed to be accomplished and we was able to get it done. So, God willing, and I did say God willing, we will understand the assignment again going into the next year, us being as wise and as great as we are, so we can get more accomplished even next year. So I would love to close with God loves you, so do we. We appreciate you for watching. We love you for watching. And if you can hit that like and subscribe button, it will be most appreciated. But on that note, we will give the